Hello, I'm Gregory Duncan. My guest today is the world's #1 self-styled transformational coach and has for 15 years lurked, as he puts it, in the corridors of power, aiding those in high office to take the right decisions at the right time. His clients include international captains of industry, monarchs, prime ministers and presidents. But perhaps, arguably more important than that, this man has enabled the ordinary people of Britain, teachers, librarians, nurses, bin men, butchers and bakers, to reach their full potential through his love, care and innate understanding of the human condition. Today, I'm face to face with Dani Womando.
Flipping hell.
Dani Womando, welcome.
No, hang on a minute. I've got to say, Christ, just listening to that, it was such an affirmation of everything I stand for. That was brilliant. Have I really done all that?
Well, apparently so.
Right, what I'd like to say before we go any further...
Go on.
...is, can we perhaps do that again? Because I think, right, I love it. It's perfect. But the thing about the bin men, right, and I don't mind the nurses, and the librarian's okay, but I don't really... With the bin men, you know.
I mean, surely the people that you look after and help are all-encompassing, are they not?
No, I just want you to say what you said, and then just say the people, or the common people.
Well, I'd rather...
Just do that for me now, because we've got to get on.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dani, because after all, I'm in the interviewer's chair.
No.
Let me just ask you...
1 second, please. I want you to do it one more time. It's brilliant, but I want it a little shorter, and I want you to say, helping the common people. Because I think the thing about the bin men, I don't like it. So let's just do it again, and then we'll kick off.
OK, let's do it one more time.
One more time, absolutely.
Hello, I'm Gregory Duncan. My guest today is the world's #1 self-styled transformational coach and has for 15 years lurked, as he puts it, in the corridors of power. But perhaps, arguably more important than that, this man has enabled the ordinary people of Britain to reach their full potential. Today, I'm face to face with Dani Womando.
Oh my God, can I just say, before you go any further, that was brilliant. That was a fantastic introduction, perfect in every way, absolutely marvellous. Now, I want to say this. I am here to be completely opened out, right? I want you to dive in. I want you to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Forensic in your investigation of me. Because I think, right, my people, the Womandalites, they want to know and they deserve to know as much as there is in all of me, right?
Okay.
So no holes barred.
Well,
any hole, help yourself.
Well, with that in mind, let me start by asking you, what did you do before you became the world's #1 transformational coach and people toucher?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I can't actually answer that question.
Why is that?
Because I've just signed a fucking book deal. This is frustrating, isn't it? I've just got a book deal. Do you know what the title is?
What's the title?
What I did before I was the world's first #1 transformational coach.
Oh, so when you say you're open to anything,
yeah,
my first question, you can't answer it.
Well, it's a technical thing, that, Gregory.
But I mean, it's a rather substantial thing, isn't it? I mean, if I can't talk to you about what you did before you were a transformational coach, then...
I know, and it's a brilliant question, but I'm a little bit hamstrung because the book deal...
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What makes you think that you are the right man to tell those in high office what to do and when to do it?
Fucking hell. Speak of the devil, right? Prime Minister. Can I ask you nicely? Yeah, can you please stop crying? Yes. And what I'm going, all right, buttocks together, right, chin up, for God's sake, straighten your shoulders and get in there and tell them exactly what you want, all right? Can you do that now for me? Okay, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Yeah, see, that's the world I live in, Gregory.
Right.
It's mental.
So, and what gives you the authority to tell them what to do and when to do it?
You're missing out on something. I don't tell anybody what to do. You know, world leaders, they don't come to me for advice, Gregory, they don't. They come to me for the right questions so they can have the right answers. So I just sort of like, you know, facilitate world change in that way.
So would you describe yourself as an enabler?
Yeah, I would describe myself as a political, global, people-touching enabler. of people in high power
Okay.
who are like really powerful though. Like that was. Did you know who that was?
Well, I gather that.
So
yes.
we can't talk about it because I've got NDA sticking out my bum. But yeah. So that's the world in which I live.
Let me ask you another question. I mean, I don't know if you can even answer it, but I mean, I was going to ask you to tell me about your upbringing and how it shapes the man you are today.
Right, okay. I think what we're going to do, right, if we're going to be sensible about it, is I will speak to my people about the content of this, because it's ridiculous for me not to be able to talk about my past to you and share it with the people. They can buy the book, they might have heard it, but we'll just fucking take a risk. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what was the question?
The question was, tell me about your upbringing and how it shaped the man you are today.
God, where do you possibly start with a question like that? My upbringing. Do you mind if I raise my glasses?
Not at all.
Thank you very much indeed. Troubled childhood, right? Lots of love from my mum, dear old Alice Gay, who's still alive and kicking today. She's there right on the end of the phone whenever I need her. She has answers for me. The woman's like a goddess. What my dad, my dad, right, Sonny Kent, an amazing guy. I didn't know him for the first 6 years of my life properly because I hadn't met him. And then mum kind of handed me over to him, right, so that he could take on parental responsibility for me, which he then went on to do, and mum went off and had her life. Now, my dad, Sonny Kent, Christ, he was a pop star, yeah, in the Huntingdon area, right? If you went anywhere and mentioned his name, gussets would be wetted. Am I allowed to say that? It's a bit like 70s, but he was a star in the Huntingdon area in the 70s. Like he was the front man for 15 bands in just 4 years. That's how successful he was, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you asked me about my childhood. Well, yes, he was a drunk. He never hit me hard. Often.
Right.
Yeah. But he always came from a place of love. And if it weren't for my dad, I wouldn't be where I am today. Because it was he who told me that I had talent.
Well, that's interesting you should say that, because you described your father as an unreconstructed, good old-fashioned male chauvinist pig.
Yeah.
He wasn't there for the first 6 years of your life and was only there afterwards because he was pursued through the courts. And given that he described you in later life as totally useless,
Yeah.
I was wondering how this would affect your outlook and indeed your attitude to men in general.
My attitude to men in general is perfectly healthy and normal. Was he a chauvinist pig? Absolutely. But that was in the time, listen, when people didn't care. I know you find that hard to believe. I find it hard to believe. But in the 70s, people didn't mind, like pinching bottoms and smacking arses as people. That was normal currency. That was what life was. Now, he ended up calling me, what did he call me?
Totally useless.
Yeah, he did end up feeling I was totally useless. Look, I had a very thriving career as an actor, right? Child actor. And I had a great time doing it. He was a little bit jealous, even though he was the foundation stone of my career, right? And then that went wrong, right? My career had hit its peak by the time I was about 22. And then I'll be honest with you, Duncan, what happened after that, I became a drinker.
Right.
I did drugs, right? Like loads of them. I mean, I'm talking about fucking stacks of the things, right? Bucket loads. I went mad. When I was young, I had to stick to the strictness of the theatre world. Yeah? Discipline, discipline, discipline. And when that kind of fell away, I went off the rails. There's no doubt about it. And it is at that stage that I basically had to live with my dad, right? And look after him. I was his primary carer. And I was pretty fucking useless at it, if I'm honest. And it was at that stage that he kicked. It's all in the song. You've not heard the song?
Which one?
Go, Danny, go.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so it's like a truncated version of the whole thing.
Okay.
He basically kicked me out and said, "You're fucking useless." Right? Hard but fair. Okay. Unfortunately, what happened, what none of us sort of thought about, because I thought, that's it, I'm out. I'm not having that. We forgot that I was his primary sole carer. And 10 days later, he was dead.
What you're describing here is quite a difficult childhood for yourself, and I mean, I was going to ask you if you'd had setbacks in your life, but it clearly sounds like you did have, and there must have been lessons that you learnt the hard way, which helped you get to where you are today.
I think the biggest setback for me, right, and I'm getting emotional now thinking about it because you're opening me up, right?
Yep.
I think the hardest thing for me was when my acting career hit the dust, right? Because I'd started out as a young man. I was one of Fagin's gang, right, in Oliver, in the West End of London.
Right.
And then I did, do you know any of this? I mean...
No, this is all new to me.
Okay,
This is
fair enough.
interesting.
It's a bit of research. But anyway, then I did 2 years on Grange Hill. And there's footage of it. I only had one line. I forgot it. No, I had to say yes, sir, a couple of times. And do you remember Tricia Yates?
No.
Oh, Christ. Well, there'll be people out there that remember Tricia Yates, and I'm going to tell you something amazing about Tricia Yates, right? She fancied me. Anyway, right, and that's true. And then I went on to become a young actor. And that's where I found my métier, yeah, playing a parade of different animals. Name me an animal. I bet I've played it. Go on.
Swan.
I haven't played a swan. Go on, something else, more
Duck.
obvious. I haven't played a duck either. Shall I give you a clue? Oh,
Bear.
I have played a bear. I played
Have you?
Baloo. Yeah, I played Baloo.
Uh-huh.
Go more obvious, quickly. Come
Dog.
on. Yeah, I played a dog. Played Pongo.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the sorrow because I played like I haven't played a duck. I haven't played. I'm not very big on wildfowl, right? But I played a cat. I played at least 2 dogs. In fact, I played 2. Yeah, that.
Yep.
But the back end and the front end of a pantomime horse on the same night because
Okay.
one of them was sick.
Good.
And but Pongo was the last. Pongo was the kind of like. That was the end of the glory days. I don't know what went wrong after that, but I'll tell you
Badgers.
what- pardon me?
Rats.
What?
Badgers. Rats. I'm just listing
No,
animals
we've-
now.
No, I have in fact played a rat. Yeah, ratty and a mole. But no, I'm trying to get now to the crux because you said what was my dilemma. My dilemma was that I actually I got a part as a human,
Right.
and it turned out I wasn't very good at it.
Oh, really? So,
No.
so you were okay with animals, but not
Yeah,
people?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a thing by David Wood called Save the Human, which is brilliant, and I played the human, but apparently I was shit.